All right, so we are trying our hand at making a homemade bird suet, figuring that we know what's going in it, and we want to, make our wild birds happy and healthy. So I had freeze-dried some raspberries and some blueberries, or I'm sorry, not freeze-dried, it's dehydrated. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's the red and they look black in here. But so it's dehydrated raspberries and blueberries, sunflower seeds, and then our regular sort of scratch that we provide to our chickens, but we also put it in our bird feeders. So I have a little recipe here, which I'm going to follow. But again, not having ever done this, should be interesting. These are the silicone molds that I'm going to be using that will fit perfectly into the suet cages. And then I have an extra one if I have more than it's going to fit in these two molds. And if that's not enough, we've got a couple of others. We got, a circle, another circle and an oval if we need to. And it's Valentine's Day this month, so I just might do a heart. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to set those all out just in case. All right, I'm going to scoot over here and get the beef fat. So I had the butcher at our local grocery store cut me some fresh beef fat off some top sirloin that he was preparing. This is what I'm going to use for the base. Other things that are going to go in here, so this will get rendered down into basically an oil. We'll be using some creamy, but you can use chunky peanut butter, some cornmeal, and some all-purpose flour. So those are pretty much the ingredients going to go in here. And let's get going. So we're going to do our beef fat. And which you can get, this is it's over a pound and it was $2.94. So I know when we priced out suet, it can be fairly expensive for if you want to keep doing it. So we just thought we'd try making our own. And it'll be made into suet cakes, which we will hang in the trees for the birds. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and portion all this out while that's melting down. So I need a cup of this peanut butter. And that is going to get it's going to get melted down with the beef fat. So fatten up any bird out there this winter. We are supposed to get a rain and snow latter part of this week, so this will be a nice treat for the wild birds in our area. So I'm just going to all right, so we're going to let that go. Okay, and while we're waiting the cornmeal, we need 2 cups of that. So we're starting to get some sizzling going on here in the pan. Peanut butter is already starting to melt. And like I said, we're getting some sizzling going on, so it's heating up. Okay. And then, as soon as that is rendered and melted, we're going to stir in our cornmeal and our flour and our mix-ins. And then when that's all stirred together, then we can spread it into our molds. And then we're going to refrigerate until they shrink back from the edges. And then we have 3 suet cages right now, so any of the extras that we make, you can go ahead and freeze because they'll keep for a really long time. Having never cooked fat down, wasn't really sure what to expect on it. It is melting. It's just not melting as fast as I thought it was going to. So I'm going to let it go for another maybe 10 minutes and then proceed with the rest of the recipe and see how things turn out. The peanut butter is no longer sticky, fluid. I think mixed with the oil from the beef fat, it's not nearly as sticky as it was when I first put it in. I did bump up the heat a little bit now that the peanut butter is not sticking, so it can melt all that beautiful, wonderful beef fat. If you don't have silicone molds, you can use ramekins, something like this. Line it with parchment paper so that it's easier to get out if you do use a ramekin like this. But I got these fun silicone molds in, hoping to make some sun catchers. But first they're going to go for suet cakes. So we'll see what happens. The volume is rising, so that means that more of the fat is melting and making the overall volume of the pot rise, which is a good thing. So I don't think it's all going to melt, even though this was just the fat from that piece of meat. I don't believe it's all going to melt. I think this melting down or rendering process is, from what I read, to separate the fat from the connective tissue of the beef. So I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm going to get. It's also, and I guess this is also a way, without the peanut butter, of course, to get tallow. Some people call it liquid gold. And it is quite getting to be a gold color. Obviously, this is not for human consumption. This is to keep our little birds, our beautiful birds, happy. Especially during the winter months, where it's harder to forage, it's harder to find things to eat. All right, 2 more minutes, and then whatever's left of the beef is coming out. The cornmeal, the flour, and the seeds, and the dried fruit are all going in. Turn the heat off. Wait the last 20 seconds. And then what's left of the beef is coming out and being thrown in the trash. All right, there we go. There's our timer. Heat is off. We're going to take these little beauties out of here. All right, I think that's probably good. The little tiny pieces can stay. But this is what we're getting from the rendering. Like I said, they look like little chicken nuggets or something. We're going to get rid of those and take this off the heat. Okay. And cornmeal's going in. Okay, it's all kind of mixed in there. Little, yeah. And then our flour's going in. It's just a little bit hot. And then this is all the good stuff. The dehydrated raspberries, fresh raspberries, fresh blueberries. Although the blueberries, when you dehydrate them, you have to blanch them first. Or else they just don't, or else it takes forever for them to actually dehydrate. And I think that's because they're plump little berries with a lot of juice and water in them, and yeah. All right. Okay. All right, get back in there. Okay. It is about the consistency of a stiff dough. If you were to be making cookies or something like that, it would foam perfectly into little balls. But anyway, I'm going to have to do this over here. I think I'm going to just have to add a teeny tiny bit of water to this. It's really stiff. Purpose of getting it into the molds, it can't quite be so stiff because it just crumbles. A little bit of water is helping to soften it up and make it a little less hard to work with. Let's try again. Okay, I'm just going to use my hands to kind of press it down in there. Get a nice, even, beautiful base. All right, mold number 1 is done. Let's do mold number 2. And you can see once I added the water to it, it's much more pliable, not nearly so stiff, which makes it really nice to work with. But this one's a little bit much, so we're just going to pop it into the other one. Give it a little more room to expand. Okay, mold number 2. Number 3. Smells very peanut buttery. I'll show you the suet cages that we have as soon as I get done here and wash my hands. It's like making peanut butter cookies. I have to do the heart. I just have to. Those big dark pieces, I don't know if you can see those, but those are actually blueberries that did not dehydrate very well. There was a few, not a ton. There's a couple of them that kind of held on to their plumpness. How cute is that? Isn't that cute? Okay. Good to go. Let me just fatten these up just a little. That one's good. That one's pretty good. Okay. Fatten her heart up a little bit. And this one needs just a tad more. Okay, I'm going to pop these into the freezer, put this into a container, which will also go in the freezer for when these run out. Thanks for watching. When we pop them into the cages, I was going to show you our cages. Well, I'll show you that when we load them and, get ready to put them in the trees. All right, thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so it's been about 3 hours, and these are frozen, pretty frozen solid. So these are our cages, our suet cages. So we got one like this, one like this, and then this is our latest one like this, which we kind of like better because you just slide it down in there and you don't have to have these clamps on it that come loose over time. So we're going to do a heart in here. We're going to do probably the square here or here, and then a round one in here. So that's how we're going to go. So we'll go ahead and do this little round one. And it should just pop right out of the mold, just like that. Like a big cookie. That one's in there. It'll be okay. And then in this one, yeah, these worked really well. Pretty happy with the molds. Okay, so there's that one. And then this one. Gonna go in there just like that. Okay, and then next we'll go hang them up in the tree. Okay, so we're outside and I think they came out beautifully. You know, so well, Mark's going to put them up because he's much taller than I am. Okay, so we're going to place one in each of the trees that we have in our front yard. This is going in our blaze maple. And of course they're all bare right now because it's winter. This is going to go in our mystery tree. Locust. And then the last one's going to go in the crabapple. Okay, there they go. I'm just waiting for the birdies to come. Thanks for watching.